This is Laurie Roselli with my Mind Map on Lecture 2, Knowledge-Based Reading in the 20th and 21st Century. We start at the top with two little books up there, the Primer and the Reader. Before the 20th century, we would see the New England Primer and McGuffey's Reader in a lot of children's hands. This is what they basically used during this time. Coming down to the 1900s, particularly 1908, I have Reading and Literature with a big X in between, symbolizing the instruction being done separate. Next, we come down to Five Little Happy Faces. These represent Judd, Gray, Parker, Horn, and Thorndike in around 1914 to 1919. A lot of research on reading was being done, particularly by these people. Coming down to the 1920s, another happy face represents Thorndike's face. In 1921, his book, The Teacher's World, was being used and was introduced and being used widely and would continue to be used in the next few decades. Coming down to the 1930s, we have a Basil Reader, which was being used at this time in the materials, along with new criticisms arising. In the 1940s, I have a nice little happy face little boy, happy faced little girl, representing Dick and Jane and Look and Say method. 1950s, I have reading and writing kind of in an exciting bubble there, symbolizing major changes were going on here at this time. Also, the methods that were being used with the little, my book I have, the Quack Quack Say the Duck, and then a new word with a question mark, symbolizes how children were learning as they memorized the appearance of words without reference to sounds, and when they would come to a new word, they would just take a guess. 1960s. I have another happy little face there representing Goodman, which introduced the queuing system. More writing was going on in this time, so I have our number 2 pencil there. SQ 3Rs were being used, which was reading, surveying, questioning, read, recite, and review. Also, small groups were on the rise, so there's my little small group reading session there on the bottom. 1970s, whole language, big reading, like oral language, is a natural process. 1980s, I have a big F with a school, symbolizing that our schools were failing. Coming up to the 1990s, I have two hands kind of shaking there, symbolizing that reading wars were coming to an end. The balanced approach of phonics and whole language was emerging. Coming up to the 2000, I have NCLB in dark, bold letters, which was established around this time. I made it nice and bold because a lot of teachers didn't really agree with the unrealistic ideas of this passing legislation. Finally, at the top, we are at the Common Core, which is focusing on now reading with an increased complexity, focusing on writing, being able to write based on claims, sound, reason, and relevant evidence. Speaking and listening deals with complex information in speaking and listening as well in media. The language emphasis is on vocabulary, and media and technology, we have to keep advancing with the media. In the center is a book I entitled Evolving, because as listening to this lecture, that is what came to my mind first. This process of reading, writing, literature, literacy, has evolved. Thank you.